Yes, hello. Hi, everybody.
Would you like that?
Jā, lūdzu, kurš medijs vēlas pirmais? Jā, lūdzu. Angļu valoda.
Andrejs Šauries, Latvijas atbrīvības medija, Krievu valoda. Jā, tāds jautājums, jūs pirmā reize Rīgā, jā?
Is this, Mr. Gīrs, your first visit to Riga?
Yeah, it's my first time. Unfortunately, they have me working all the time. And I haven't had time to see much of your beautiful country and your beautiful city. But I woke up this morning, we just flew in from Oslo, and we were doing some work with human rights works there that were really terrific people and wonderful organizations. We got here in the middle of the night, and I woke up this morning, and I opened up the curtains at the hotel, and the most beautiful city you have here. This beautiful park and beautiful gardens, and I was just watching the beautiful citizens of Riga walk through town and walk through the gardens and marveling at how happy everyone seems to be here. In a world falling apart, you know, maybe this is a little paradise here.
Thank you. More questions?
Hi, my name is Tom. It's a pleasure to see you and colleagues in Riga. Speaking about Tibet and its people's strivings and difficulties they are facing, it's a shame, but we must confess that we don't know pretty much about these topics. How do you think, in brackets, thanks to whom we are in a lack of information about these issues, whether they're too complicated or whether somebody is making sort of an iron dome to protect us from this vitally important information?
Well, the Chinese Communist Party has completely locked up information. You know, journalist friends of mine, like you guys, have said that it's much easier for them to get into North Korea and do their job than getting into Tibet. So there's very little information getting out. There's very few people who get in who are capable of telling the story. Our organization, the International Campaign for Tibet, which is here right now, Wangpo and Tenčo Giatso is the president of the International Campaign for Tibet, and she's also the Dalai Lama's niece. So she knows things from many, many different angles here. And these guys are old friends since they were quite young, so you're getting a lot of...
He's a little bit older.
Look, Tibet is a huge piece of real estate. It's bigger than Western Europe. And when the Chinese invaded independent Tibet in 1949, 1950, there were 6 million Tibetans. And after that invasion, through the 50s and into the 60s, 1.2 million Tibetans lost their lives. An incredibly cruel invasion and occupation. The Dalai Lama, who was quite young at the time, did his best to make some kind of a peace with the Chinese. It became clear that was impossible. His life was threatened, and he escaped into India in 1959. And has been living in exile. And over 150, maybe 160, 170,000 Tibetans have escaped in the meantime. But that has stopped now. There were many years that it was 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 Tibetans would escape and literally walk out over the Himalayas into Nepal and into India. And that has stopped completely now. The latest is a new law in China, which goes into effect July 1st, which actually codifies in law the bad behavior they've had. This is allowing them to destroy all what they call the minorities. So this is the Uyghurs, the Tibetans, Hong Kongers, whoever it may be. Now makes it legal for them to erase these cultures and erase the people. Now, in the real world, what they're doing at this point is colonial boarding schools. They're taking away children as early as 3 years old away from their families. 3, 4, 5, 6-year-old kids are being taken away and indoctrinated into thinking they're Han Chinese and that their own culture is bad, their language is bad, their parents are bad, everything Tibetan is bad. So that's the latest strategy that full scale. And we were talking about this interview that we had done with a Tibetan educator, Dr. Gallo, who is now living in the West because he can't possibly go back, they'll kill him. But he was inside this system of the colonial boarding schools. And we did a 2-hour interview with him in Dharamsala last year that we were going to make available to everyone very soon.
I think also, if I might add to
Please
that,
go ahead.
we are also here looking at ways to talk about Tibet and share what's happening, raise awareness on what's happening inside Tibet, as well as bringing the Dalai Lama's message, which is something that that resonated with us when we were growing up, and that I think is much needed in this time. And this film that I hope you will be able to see today really brings His Holiness message, like you're sitting with him for an hour or so. So I think that's part of the goal. The other is to educate lawmakers and policymakers on what's happening inside China, because all of our governments are dealing with China, and when they deal with China, they should deal with honest facts of what the Chinese government is also doing in their own backyard to Tibetans, to Uyghurs, to minorities there, and how they deal with the world, even with transnational repression and their long arm reaching everywhere. So I think, dealing with open eyes, understanding of everything, that's what we hope to imagine. And I think today we came here at the invitation of one of your parliamentarians, and we had very good meetings there. We are speaking with a lot of media here, but our goal is really not just to have this one-off meeting here, but to develop relationships with you so that we can have tools to share what we're doing and bring a better understanding of Tibet to the audience here, but also take the story of your country and what you have done back to our communities, because when we're here, our community is seeing what we're doing over here and then sharing what has happened here in the Baltic story inspires our Tibetan audience. So I think, there's both ways is what we're hoping to do.
Yeah, I think you've had a very strong and powerful experience here of being colonized and having your language, your culture challenged on many, many different levels. The kind of rewriting of history, the capturing of history, the retelling of the lie over and over and over again from the bad guy's point of view, hoping that that will be the new norm. And the Chinese have been doing this in Tibet. This fiction that Tibet has, since ancient times, as they say, been part of China is absolutely false and can be proven by all scholars, Chinese, Tibetan, and European as well. It's well documented that is not true. Asia has been a very shifting dynamic of power over millennium, and at one point Tibet actually controlled almost all of Asia, all the way to the Caspian Sea, in fact. So this recent resurgence of Han Chinese is very recent, and this invasion of 1949, 1950 is really the first time that Tibet has been completely occupied by China.
Wangpo, please add something.
Yes, my name is Wangpo Teton, and I'm the director of ICT Europe, and I would like first to thank the local organizers for arranging this visit. Juris
That's you.
Willens, the MP Yanis, and also Ilse, who's moderating this event today. There is a press release I would like to tell you, and in this press release we have detailed what happened today, and you will also see our names there, so you don't have to worry about the details of your reporting. What I would like to say also in response to what you have asked, you see how the situation now is and how the Tibetans see themselves. I think in this film that you will see this afternoon, it's quite clear. Of course, the Tibetans had a difficult time, but we are not only victims. And His Holiness the Dalai Lama has a message for the world, and it's a force of transformation, not only for the individuals, but for whole societies. And that's very much true also for the Tibetans. So Tibetans in the 50, 60 past years have changed a lot. And we feel that we are ready for the future. So it's not about desperation. It's not about not knowing where to go. We have clear ideas how the future of Tibet is and where we should go and how we should do this. And therefore, it is so interesting to be also here in the Baltic states, because we feel it's very much what connects us to this region here in the three countries. And we can learn from you a lot, take a lot of strength and inspiration. And I think that's very much also something that we take back to our communities.
Thank you.
Actually, I think I have nothing much to say, because we need to save a time for such a distinguished guest. I just want to say, like, we as a Baltics, we have obligation and our duty to give back to others what we get from Western world when we're looking for getting back independence. Now is our duty to help Tibet. That's it.
You ready for more questions? Maybe one more, last question.
What does for you mean the wisdom and happiness personally in the context of the film? My name is Linda.
The sound in here is very difficult.
What does the wisdom of happiness mean to you personally in the context of the film?
You know, first of all, we're very proud of this film. And, you know, it exists on many different levels. Of course, part of it is a history lesson. But the heart of it is really this extraordinary interview with the Dalai Lama, and using a technique that was actually developed by Errol Morris, who's a documentary filmmaker, where the subject, there's a mirror in front of the lens, and actually the interviewer is off to the side, but the person who's being interviewed, the interviewee, is looking directly into the camera, in the lens of the camera. So in this case, you're having a very direct experience of engaging with the Dalai Lama, as if he's talking directly to each and every one of us. And that's, as I was talking about it today, I realized it was very much the first time that I engaged His Holiness the Dalai Lama in 1981 in Dharamsala. But having that private experience, and as you'll see in the film, he says, look, forget about religion. Forget about all that. Let's just talk about human beings and how we relate to each other. That was pretty much the same experience I had with him. So for me to share the purity of having a direct experience with the Dalai Lama, and one potentially that can either change you radically in the movie theater or lay a seed inside of you and me that will come to fruition in some years or some lifetimes from now. But that to me is the gift that we're offering with this movie. The possibility of reestablishing a connection with the purity inside of us, the openness, the love and compassion, the sense of a diminished self-cherishing and an opening to a sense of family, responsibility to all beings on this little planet floating in space, and that it's possible. And we've screened this movie all over the world in many different cultures, but the feeling at the end is the same. When the lights come up, there's a sense of, 500 strangers in the dark are not strangers anymore. That openness is infectious, and it's embracing, and it's blissful. And the possibility that we can actually create a world that actually is that all the time is palpable.
Thank you. And just one last question, sorry.
Hello, Richard. My name is Levs. I'm a journalist from BalticEvents.info. It's like a not ordinary question. I met Dalai Lama in 2016, and I took a selfie with him, and he touched my chin. I posted on the circle. Here it is. I posted 16, 17, I don't remember. And the situation was like, I posted on the Instagram, Facebook, and a lot of my parents and a lot of friends, they called me and told me that it's something special when he touched you. Is it some magic stuff or something? That's the question I would like to ask. Thank you.
Look, I think to be touched by the Dalai Lama is a big deal. But actually it said even to hear the name Dalai Lama is extraordinary. The karma that one would have to even hear the name, to actually meet in person, another extraordinary level of karma coming into fruition. And to take a teaching from the Dalai Lama, the karma is extraordinary of that. To have the Dalai Lama touch you, how extraordinary. I mean, I've seen His Holiness, and he's done it with me and all of us here, this touching. I don't know exactly what he means by that, but there is a chakra here. And it's actually, the symbolism is wisdom. He went right for it. Well, there's the body, speech, and mind. So the speech, the ability to not only activate, but able to communicate wisdom. So we usually use speech just to be blah, blah, to gossip, to do stupid things. But one assumes that there's a point where language, sounds, mantra, those things embody wisdom. So he kind of empowered you to use your vocal cords in the cause of wisdom.
Thank you so much, and thank you for all of you coming here today. And let's move on, because the screening is waiting for us. Wisdom of Happiness. Thank you so much for today.
Thank you.